All right. Welcome, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us tonight, whether you're here in person at the DCC or virtually. My name is Mika, and I am one of the co-directors at the San Francisco Disability Cultural Center. We are so delighted you could join us to kick off the tour for Leah Lakshmi Piepzna-Samarasinha's new book of poetry, The Way Disabled People Love Each Other. Just a few access notes. For those of you joining virtually, if you'd like more personalized captions from stream text, you can access them at dcc.page/captions. Today's event is a Zoom webinar for those of you virtual, and the DCC team will use the chat function for sharing access information and important links. And if you'd like to participate, you can use the emoji buttons, and we have a Q&A space that you can use just like a chat, including for access questions. And you can also email access@disabilityculturalcenter.org, and we'll do our best to support you. This program today is presented to you by the San Francisco Disability Cultural Center, led by Elsie and Lily Cox, Haven of Hope. And it's all made possible thanks to financial support from the City of San Francisco's Human Service Agency's Department of Disability and Aging Services. So again, thanks for joining us. We are so grateful to have Leah here in San Francisco for the first stop on their tour to read selections of their new book. They flew in for Alice Wong's memorial, and today is an extra perfect day for this celebration of Leah's newest work, because it is also Alice's birthday. And the city of San Francisco officially declared it Alice Wong Day in her honor. So happy Alice Wong Day, everyone. All right, let's get started. Please join me in welcoming Leah to the stage.
Thank you so much, Mika. And thank you so much, all of the beautiful disabled people who are in this audience, in person and online. I'm so thrilled you came. It is really, really beautiful to be home. As you know, some people know I lived here for a decade. I was priced out. I have so many memories of like brilliant, disabled, queer, trans, Black, and brown performance nights here, which many of you were at. And I really am just holding the sacredness of us being together. Thank you for making it here. Thank you for making it on Zoom. Our presence is a blessing and a revolution. And I'm so honored that you chose to give up your Friday night to hang out with me. So thank you so much. But before you get to hear me talk my depressing, disabled, brown, queer shit, whatever, you probably want to go home. It's too depressing. I have two brilliant family members who are going to be opening, who it's my honor to introduce to the stage. The first will probably be up on that screen in a second, is my little brother cousin, Trey Vasquez, who some people may know. Make some noise if you know, or wave your hands if you know. Thank you. Trey is a trans Chicano artist, MC, and comedian, originally from the desert lands of Arizona. He has been performing for over 20 years, and he has toured nationally with projects such as the Sex Workers Art Show and Mangoes with Chili. In his everyday life, he works in climate justice and disability justice, and is a parent living with autoimmune disease in the age of oligarchy and a bunch of other fuck shit. I have known Trey since he was 19 years old. He was brilliant then. He has only gotten better. Please give my family members so much love as he blesses this stage. Trey.
Thank you all so much. Such an honor to be here. I want to just take a moment to give a big shout out to Leah. I'm so excited to share in this evening, to celebrate. Another release. I was teasing Leah earlier. I was like, I'm still trying to clean my kitchen, and you've already written another book. You're already releasing another book. Um, so thank you so much for your dedication, your discipline, in that way, or maybe you wouldn't call it discipline, but your practice and your love of Crip community is the way I see it. And yes, we have known each other a long time. I was remembering about 17 years ago, we were on the Mangoes with Chili tour. And despite some wild run-ins with at Border Patrol checkpoints, myself, we having a little bit of a rough experience there. It was an amazing tour, and I was kind of traveling back in time, and just so grateful that we're still in community with each other, and in struggle with each other as times get increasingly harder. And I share that same love with each and every one that's joining tonight. Just that we continue dismantling these systems that are harming our people, and also, just as importantly, as this book uh, captures so beautifully, the way we love each other too is just as important as the way that we fight the bad and stop the bad things that are happening. We talk about a liberated world, um, and then we don't always know how to treat each other. So it's all connected. That we love each other and we care for each other. So I will say that I'm again so grateful, and I'm gonna go ahead and read a few poems here. This first piece is a glimpse into the future. What will be possible because we remembered, even in a world rapidly working to disconnect us from being human, we remembered that even if someday we can no longer grow what we need from the soil, that we still are the soil, made from earth, air, and water. And so we protect them with our life, the way we protect each other. We are seed savers, storytellers, living libraries, foreseers of the future and portals to the past. The students of pollinators, organizers, campesines, yerberas, sacred clowns, brown and down computer hackers, crib song keepers, lovers, doctors, birth workers, birthing new worlds, transcending smoking ashes unfurled. We are messengers, airdropping seeds of resistance onto a world collapsing into herself. We are a prayer of remembrance, learning to love like underground rivers, hiding to preserve our force and medicine, emerging as springs to sustain life, reminding each other to use only what we need. And so I'm reminding you to never forget the ones that are coming, to reciprocate now while we have time, making ourselves like waterways. Trust where you're going, slowly eroding pathways into the future. Our molecules in perpetual cycles of life, only evaporating to return as monsoons, flash flooding their borders, their prisons, their colonizer monuments, White Houses, capitals, and binaries. We are the thunder awakening sleeping giants, blood red like sequoia. Our roots, underground communication systems, interconnected, interlinguistic, intergalactic, beyond Jedi mind tricks, ancestral memory. We are a sleight of the hand, night vision to find points of intervention, manifested by our matriarchs who couldn't see us but prayed we would live the day to embody lightning, striking this beast to its knees. Colonialism, capitalism, imperialism, patriarchy, ableism, we will bring to burial, allowing its bones to compost into the building blocks of regeneration, an old way reincarnated into the new world we are birthing. We are still here because we refuse to forget that we too are a part of this living, breathing world. Thank you. I'm gonna go to this second piece. I cannot hear what's happening on that end. So I'm gonna go ahead and go. This piece is called The Eulogy. And I want to dedicate it to all of our loved ones, all of our Crip relatives and now ancestors that have gone on. When it's all said and done, they'll say you were a hero. They'll name public spaces, grants, and awards after you. They'll say you were admirable, an inspiration. They'll leave flowers on your name. They'll gold plate your tears and memorialize your pain. Your solitude and isolation they'll make romantic. And they'll remember everything fondly despite forgetting you a million times in his waking life. And hey, what the fuck you gonna do, right? Every time I say it is what it is, a little part of me dies. Because honestly, that shit pisses me off. Meanwhile, the earth suffered from extraction and disregard too. You know what it is? I guess what makes me mad is that all too often when we say it is what it is, it means to accept bullshit. Because some people never change. And too many things I cannot change and it'll eat me up if I let it. But the Crips I know go the hardest, love the hardest, fight the hardest, care the hardest with everything they got. So when we whisper your name early in the morning, giving thanks for making the way, you'll know we meant it because we showed it. We held each other in the shadowiest of spaces, wiped each other's tears, proclaiming fuck that every time somebody came sideways. We lit up countless waiting rooms with our brilliance and made a lot of shitty doctors nervous. We raised money, we raised cups, warm spoonfuls, and blunts to your lips. And we believed in each other when everything else was a fucking farce. When we whisper your name early in the morning, lighting up your travels to the Milky Way with our candles. When we laid down paths of Simpalsuchit, calling you home. When you hear our songs and prayers and help yourself to our altares stacked with all the shit you loved in this life, you'll know we meant it. We love you. We always did. Thank you.
The next reader I'm going to bring to the stage. Wait, I just lost the text. Okay. Is also someone I've probably known since they were 19 years old. I don't know. This whole show is a 18. Okay. This whole show is a testimony to those of us who are still here and also those of us who have gone on. Stephanie Echeverria Fen is a disabled dyke, an anti-capitalist mentally ill mother, and a housing justice insurrectionary. She is a 2023 Lambda Literary Fellow and a 2024 Writing Freedom Fellow. Her nonfiction has been published in the Bellevue Literary Review and performed as part of the National Queer Arts Festival. She's currently working on a chapbook of letters to her daughter and a full-length work about her chronic bulimia and binge eating disorder in dialogue with Audre Lorde's The Cancer Journals. Her work is only possible due to the miracle of kidney donation prolonging the lives of her closest loved ones, and she asks you to consider organ donation if possible. You can read her work at the Bulimia Journals at substack.com. And if you like the piece she's about to read, she's currently broke as fuck and can be Venmo'd at Ars Poetica. Please give all of your love and warmth to bringing Stephanie to the stage as the blessing that they are.
Hello. I think someone told me to pause for a moment to fix the caption. So I'm just going to do that. Let me know when I can start. All right. Before I start, my piece is a letter addressed to David Vonarovich. I've been thinking a lot about our queer elders who still should be here and are not here. And so David would have been 71 this September. And I have been reading and looking at a lot of his videos, and this piece is in dialogue with one particular one, his famous 10 pounds of pressure, 10 pounds of rage video, when he's talking about how as each T cell disappears from my body as someone living with AIDS, it's replaced by 10 pounds of pressure and 10 pounds of rage. So if I could kind of just call him into this space, when I say 10 pounds of pressure, you say 10 pounds of rage. So 10 pounds of pressure. 10 pounds of pressure. Yeah. Yes. 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 It's just building. The pressure, the rage is just building.
Hi, Lisa. This is Emily. If you can hear me, we can't swap to auto captions. It's the way it's showing up is only a portion of the screen. So we can pause for you to reset, or we can disconnect you as manual. And you can text me if that is easier to let me know the best way to support. Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know why the Zoom captions aren't working, but the stream text is different than the Zoom.
Okay, yes. So folks, I encourage dcc.page/captions, and you can look there. If anybody in our house right now is needing captions and doesn't have a personal device, you can come grab us right near the door and we'll get you set up to borrow an iPad to look at them. So we'll just give it a minute or two to let people find that link. I'm going to say it one more time, dcc.page/captions. We're sorry, Zoom likes to play and do different things every single day. All right, thank you.
All right. You guys are ready? Is it okay to start or? Okay. Cool. One more time, 10 pounds of pressure. On September 14th, you would have turned 71. I wonder a lot of things about how you would be as an elder, David. Whether you would become one of those bottoms, such as myself, who turns into a top as they age. Whether you would still be straddling the line between avant-garde art world and gutter slut, or have fully committed to one or the other. But mostly, David, I wonder what it would have been like to have you around, here with me, teaching me how to be a wrong and bad queer. I have had to do it all alone, you know. Things are sloppy and almost slapstick when one lacks a guide. I think of this when the call for anti-ice lookouts at the Home Depots in the area went out last summer, and I hesitated to join. I imagine my daughter's daughter asking me one day, "What did you do, abuelita, during the war?" Well, I debated mightily whether going out to the Home Depot protests was worth the risk. She nods seriously. Of abduction? No, mija. The risk of being found by all my old tricks. When I was a sex worker, my niche was good Catholic Home Depot jornaleros. This is not an idle fear. I have already run into one client, Gustavo, back when the airport protests were going on in 2018. I was on the SFO elevator holding a banner reading "Proud Daughter of Immigrants," and he was with who I assumed were his coworkers from their company shirts. I couldn't quite remember whether I'd fucked any of his coworkers too. I often fucked groups of workers on the track in their white company vans. Not in an orgy way or running a train on me way, in a rents are high, so we're all living in too overcrowded conditions to host kind of way. They would wait orderly and efficiently, one by one, to go into the van, head nodding at each other awkwardly but kindly on the way out, like when I bump into my therapist's other clients in her waiting room. I kind of was their therapist. I've never been an attractive woman, nor very skilled at heterosex, but my business always thrived because of how skilled I was at playing to certain deeper needs. With these workers, I played the good Latina wife, validating the inhumanity they faced from bosses, the physical pain of having to work all your life, and the brutal loneliness of immigrant life, a role I had been prepared for long before I entered sex work. There were ways these transactions felt genuinely sweet and resonant, but over the course of decades, they also solidified my belief that no one could truly want me for my real body mind, that anyone's desire for me simply had to be a projection of their own inner shit. That's one thing I would ask your elder wisdom about, David. How do we take seriously the way our alienation from all labor, including our sexual labor under capitalism, diminishes our possibilities for real depths of love without playing into discourses that demonize us as sex workers? My 68-year-old straight lady therapist tells me that this is an artifact of trauma, to be gentle with myself. And I want to scream at her, you are not the elder I need, that I don't want to be gentle with myself. I want to be tough with you and me together, David, like that Marge Piercy poem. Two people fighting back to back can cut through a mob. I want to be with you when the crowds in front of St. Patrick's Cathedral are shouting at you, you won't be here next year, you'll get AIDS and die, haha. I watch videos of you on a loop sometimes, your rage still incandescent after all these years. If I had $1 to spare for healthcare, you spit, paraphrasing the Surgeon General, I'd rather spend it on some baby or innocent person with some defect, not of their own responsibility, not some person with AIDS. And I want to let down all my lies in the force of your presence, David, because truthfully, even the babies of whores like us don't get to be innocent persons. Truthfully, my daughter will never have a daughter call me abuelita because she was born with a life-altering kidney defect that will necessitate a pediatric kidney transplant and a life spent desperately on guard against early death, against crowds shouting that, of course, disability is only death and punishment. Of course, a disabled whore like me was not supposed to have children. Of course, this is what immigrants do, come here and drain the national budget with our inherently wrong children. My straight therapist tells me that a sick child is one of the greatest stressors a person can face. And I want to yell at her again, you are not the elder I need. I need an elder who daydreams wistfully about how easy life would be if all we had to do was watch our loved ones die instead of watch our loved ones' deaths be used as pawns in political battles intent on eradicating our existence. That infected blood you tip Amazonian blow darts in and aim at certain politicians, that sickness is a lineage. That specific quality of violence is a lineage. In about 1 year, they will cut a kidney out of my body, and I will think of you, David, as I descend into that liminal death mask of ether. I will not be scared of this surgery because my entire life I have been dysfunctionally searching more than anything for some form of fucking anesthesia from this world. As each nephron is removed from my body, it will be replaced by 10 pounds of pressure and 10 pounds of rage. The last time I fucked Gustavo at the Berkeley hot tubs, we lost track of time and left his truck locked up in the parking lot of the Trader Joe's across the street. The warmth of having his dick sucked in warm water for an hour quickly evaporated as the manager explained it would be towed, no exception. No exception for the undocumented man dependent on his truck for his livelihood. Definitely no exception for his whore. I am not the right kind of laborer. My stoic abuelo who lost his middle finger in a work accident and kept right on working, or my straight cousins waking up at 5 a.m. to pack homemade flautas into coolers for their good, strong construction worker husbands. I am the woman who decided selling sex was easier than keeping her second job, giving it up for cash to the good Latino men I was raised to marry and bear Catholic children for. At church, the pastor would often pray for our men working dangerous jobs as roofers and operators of heavy machinery. Sex work has a higher on-the-job death rate than all these professions, but that's different. It's our own fault for doing something so terrible. When I went to college and graduate school, I met many sophisticated professors and texts that told me that sex work had a radical history, that living a bohemian lifestyle was cool and culturally superior, that neoliberalism forces us to sell aspects of our identity. I hoped that if I could enter that kind of world permanently, I could somehow become innocent again. Not the kind of person a family member told me I was when they overheard me talking to my little sister about something gay. You know what they say about someone who leads little ones astray, he told me, referencing Matthew 18:6. It were better for him that a millstone were hung about his neck and he were drowned in the depth of the sea. As life happens, I was never actually able to enter that kind of world permanently. After giving birth to my daughter, there was no way I could ever become innocent again anyway. After a lifetime straddling the fence of respectability, trying desperately to conceal my sex work, my disabilities, my neurodivergence, explain myself to a world bent on willfully misunderstanding my positionality as a poor person, a biracial person, a stone cold fucking dyke, I had finally materially instantiated my status as an irredeemable slut once and for all. A status ushered into my birthing room by the chill that I felt in the air when they, the good people, the morally continent people, the winners of this world, asked me who the father was, with extremely cisgendered glances towards my trans woman wife, who, unbeknownst to their assumptions, had gotten an orgy a decade earlier. I don't really know who the father is, I told them. I don't know. This is not a scene of objection. This is the vision I come to. What does it mean, David, for us to take all the things held most sacrosanct by our overculture, the phallus, masculinity, the myth of romanticism, and take them into our bodies and birth them back into the world in forms that reveal the lie of mechanisms of sexual control like enforced monogamy, misogyny, and the supremacy of the nuclear family? In other words, David, what does it mean to be a fucking whore? To literally create life out of criminalized and economically mediated relationships, a life that the law of the father is literally unknown and irrelevant to. What does it mean to take those doctors' devastatingly judgmental faces and use them for my own fucking pleasure? Thinking of them sometimes while I'm bent over our domestic little kitchen table and my wife is beating my thighs and calling me her slut. What power do these men and their morals hold over me when their most deeply held injunctions have become simply fodder for my orgasms, the remnants of a time when I truly believed all their bullshit? How even then, in those times, my body and its kinks were giving the lie to the powers whose brainwashing my mind could not yet throw off. What else could I throw off as I age? Shame mellowing into elder wisdom like a pot of caldo left on the stove long enough to really infuse every flavor. You never got to know what that felt like, David. I am already older than you were when you died. My daughter may never get to know what that feels like. Isn't that so queer, y'all? Isn't it queer for us to all share so much across generations when this world says that the deepest intergenerational connections must be reserved for biological kinship bonds? Isn't it queer for all of us to be living daily with the specter of death from AIDS, from violence against sex workers, from chronic kidney disease, and still be able to find each other and speak to each other across time and space and histories hell-bent on erasing us? You, David, taught me how not to be erased. And you, Leah, taught me how not to be erased. How to walk through the jeers of their cathedrals, secure in the knowledge that we are coming, not going, beneath their murderous intentions. Thank you very much.
It up again for Stephanie. And now I am so pleased to introduce Leah, Lakshmi, Piepzna-Samarasinha, they, them, a non-binary femme, disabled writer and disability and transformative justice movement worker of Burger and Tamil Sri Lankan, Irish, and Ukrainian Galician Roma descent. They are the author or co-editor of 10 books, including The Future is Disabled, Prophecies, Love Notes, and Morning Songs, Beyond Survival, Stories and Strategies from the Transformative Justice Movement, co-edited with Ajiris Dixon, Tongue Breaker and Care Work, Dreaming Disability Justice, a Lambda and Jean Cordova Award winner, 5-time Publishing Triangle shortlister, and longtime disabled QT BIPOC space maker. They are currently building the Stacey Park Milburn Liberation Arts Residency, a writer's residency by and for QT BIPOC writers. Raised in Worcester, Massachusetts, they live in Lenapehoking, Philadelphia. And with that, please welcome Leah for a reading from their fifth book of poetry, The Way Disabled People Love Each Other.
Dr. Mika. What's going on?
I think so.
Is it working? Is it working? Is it loud enough? Louder? Okay, cool. We can get louder. Please give it up for yourselves and our continual beauty, ugliness, and survival. Thank you very much. I already said some shit that I meant to say now earlier, but I will just once again say, this is my first book of poetry in 7 years. Yeah, thank you. I hope you still like it after you hear it. It's also, this is my first time doing in-person tour since January 2020, right? And I want to just thank everybody, everyone who is attending here, everyone who is attending on Zoom, all of the language justice workers, everyone at the DCC, all of the workers who made this space for collectively making it possible for us to be together. Okay, because I don't have to tell you, but I will say again and again, we know the powers that be are trying to kill us, and they have succeeded in killing many of us. And they are also pushing to drive us away from being able to be together. And I am about to be 51 years old. I have been blessed to have been brought into disability justice in 2009. I was the baby. I still feel like the baby, but okay, I guess I'm the junior elder. God help us all. And I know that I have never taken for granted the ability for queer and trans, Black and brown disabled people to come together. And I know that my life has been transformed and saved by these precious spaces that so many hundreds and thousands of hours of work go into. I know the first time I snuck out to see a Sins Invalid performance in 2008, and I was closeting my disability to the Bay Area. I was like, I'm in remission, it's fine. And I saw this 200 sexy ass, disabled, deaf, sick, weird people who were not all white flirting with each other. And I just cried and came and fell in love, and I knew that I could come home. And I am really, for all of us, alive and dead, continuing to do the work to make these homes, even as the ways we make them and the dangers of coming together keep morphing. I believe in us. I believe in our ability to make what we need. Okay, that's my fucking speech. We can go home now. I have a Stacey Park Milburn quarter in my pocket that a beloved brown femme brought for me. It's weird having your friend on a quarter. I don't believe in money or capitalism, but I want to say, I want everyone to take a moment, if you feel like it, and just bring the people that we've lost and we missed into this room. I know that they're always with us, and I just want us to bring all of our beloved dead who want to show up here because they love us, and that portal to the other world is really open. And they're a lot of what keeps me here every day, even when sometimes I'm like, damn, that looks like a really fun party up there with no wildfire smoke. Like, let me take it up there. I want to say that this book began when Stacey died on May 19th, 2020. And I'm a diva, so I wrote a whole ass poem cycle to my queer, disabled, Asian femme best friend. And I believe that memory is an act of resistance. It has always been acts of resistance for our people. A line I say a lot is that this system wants to kill us while we're alive and erase us after we're dead. And when we refuse to do that, and it can be you write 11 books of poetry because you have a fucking stress problem, or like Trey was like, I'm still trying to clean my kitchen. I'm like, me too. But it's me at 2 a.m. being like, okay, yeah, I'm following up on the email. Anyway, also in the everyday acts where we remember our loved ones and where we bring everything that they've given us into this world and the next, that's resistance. So I'm going to start by reading a couple poems from the first section of the book, which is, bless you, which is entitled The Stacy Poems. And I'm Gen X, so I don't always trigger warn because I feel like sometimes I trigger warn for like rape and abuse. I don't trigger warn. I had white people be like, can you trigger warn because you're going to discuss racism? And I was like, no, bitch. But just know going into this that I trust us, that these are poems that deal with grief and loss and memory and survival. And that if anybody is like, I need to take a little break, please do. And I also believe that that speaking bitterness is a way that we can heal. Yeah. Okay. Point 2. I've wept blood for you every day, so now the blood my body is willing to offer is scanty. I wipe, get a smear of apricot sunrise on the toilet paper. Tell me about the weird things your body did while grieving, asked on Facebook, gets me nausea, knives. It was like a hole in the chest. Time was weird. Yeah. I look up and it's 8 p.m., all day crypt bedhead, wild-eyed planning your funeral. And I might pause between some, I might just go, okay? That's the first piece. The next piece is called When Your Friend Dies Like Jesus on Her 33rd Birthday. Ugh, fuck, we're still here, right? When your friend dies like Jesus on her 33rd birthday, and you get the call, and you think, oh, she woke up from the surgery. You can write your disabled BIPOC rom-com from Netflix now. Everything worked out. All the prayers and the good wishes the email asked for. You were never really worried. You felt the calm hand of God all around her, but it turns out it was holding her different than you thought. When your friend dies like Jesus on her 33rd birthday, it stops your clock with a smashed hand. Your mouth makes the words no, no, no. You howl, break. And then you spit out the absolutely ridiculous words. I'm supposed to be on a conference call with 4 of our friends about whether or not we should take that Ford Foundation Disability Justice Art money in 22 minutes. I can't be on this shit. You were going to ask her for advice about whether you should take it or not. You can't now. You call up one of the other 4. He goes, no, 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 no. You break. You text, you call, you break the news. Everyone picks up on the first ring, is mildly surprised you're calling, but glad to hear from you until you tell them. I want you to know. I know you know. Your death was met by cripple howls of grief all over the world. You were loved more than most of us are. You still are. Me scream driving down the 5 on cripple autopilot. My lizard brain steering the curves that put thousands of miles on my car over the 5 years I didn't move back home to be your neighbor. SeaTac to Fedway, Tacoma Dome to the Tacoma Mall, Puyallup to Lakewood, JBLM to the Lacey exit and the food co-op sign. Screaming along to the Pixies on my phone on high in the cup holder about digging for fire. That's what you were doing with all of your life. Talking to myself out loud to you in my old coffee cup bumper sticker bad smell car like the crazy bitch that I am. I don't want to live in a future where you are a memory. Thank you. Okay, so this next piece is called I Want to Kill the Medical Industrial Complex for You, and please laugh, in bitterness. And I was actually censored by a beloved friend when I was trying to read, where he was like, I will get fired if you read this poem. And I was like, well, yes, And I can't get fired from anything, so I'm going to read it anyway. I feel like some people in here can relate to this poem, so I'm just going to read it. I want to kill the whole entire medical industrial complex for you. I want to kill every fucker who killed Carrie Ann and Jerica and Heather and people I don't know and now won't because ableism killed them. Who might, edited to add, did kill you because you're a fat Asian femme with a vent in her throat who needs a damn cancer surgery. I won't forget how long they left you in the hallway after that CAT scan. No vent, no pain meds, hallway. I want to kill every motherfucker who's ever said to me, oh, I don't think we need to do a biopsy. Oh, I don't think you really need that medication. Oh, I didn't think to check the lymph nodes. I want to kill every one of those bastards who kills us with pats on the head, 4-hour hold times, and indifference. I want to kill every motherfucker who told me to trust them, who asked me if I was maybe just a little depressed, who refused to give me imaging a few of the million times I asked. I want to murder the ones who told me they didn't really care if I understood what was happening, just if they could charge me for it. I want to commit mass murder, which will just start to make up for every time they said your life was worth less than the $1,000 the antibiotic you knew you needed cost. Go ahead, call me another autistic mass shooter risk. I don't care. Yeah, laugh for that one. Laugh for that one. Please, 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 please. No made up murder I write about in a poem can bring you back to us. Boom, clap for me. Thank you. Okay, because if you can't joke about the shit that they say about you and the people they take from us, what the fuck can you talk about? Okay, this is called End of the World Park, or Why Disabled Women of Color Die Young. It's not always murder, ableism, or homelessness. Sometimes you look at the available options and go, fine. It's not always tragedy. Who lives long and well anyway? Me and S hanging out, her buffalo plaid jacket and hat, Southern Crip organizer, bourbon cocktails poured from a coffee urn at this Cajun restaurant. It's the closest wheelchair accessible place to Ashby Bard. We talk about all the bitter, bitter beloveds. Say, are we going to be like them when we get older? Change the subject, go, what can we do to not be like them? Still don't have an answer, settle on, I promise if we start acting like that, I'll tell you. Follow with, I promise if I'm about to die, I'll tell you. You didn't get that chance. You didn't want me to run. You thought it wasn't going to happen. You wanted to focus on your life. I'm making up stories. I don't really know why you didn't tell me. B nods and laughs at her kitchen table, says, oh yeah, older women of color. It's like, I am this bridge called my back, bitch. Fuck you for telling me you built another bridge after it. Fuck you for telling me that maybe that bridge I built needs a retrofit or a paint job or an accountability process. Thank you for laughing. Here I am on my 4th life. Do I have 9 more? $11,000 in an IRA, successful book, but people don't give any kind of cripple money. Sometimes even your own. Sometimes especially your own. We didn't expect any of this. Our survival, our lives, the movement twists and turns, the ways we continue to be deliberately forgotten. We're so used to being the only one and right, we don't know how to be together and wrong. I still don't want to die young. I still want us all to make it to that big ass place over the hill. I want a mixtape, a rock anthem, a love song, a scream. I want none of us to ever end. Thank you. Okay, I got 2, and then I got some more. And then I'm going to check in to see if people are in poetry deaths because we get to mingle and hang out and shit. But this is called So Good. I keep saying she was so good, but not like Beth from Little Women good. You guys are the ideal audience. You know, noble, tragic, dying, cripple good, like the only kind of us you ever get to see in a movie. But she was good like your regular, imperfect, crack-ass weirdo, tee-hee, giggled, disabled good. Stacy's dead, and it's day 46 or something like that, and day 126 of the pandemic or something like that. And here I am crying quietly on my toilet, face screwed up, reading Dinez Smith's line, oh, the horrid friends who were just ships harboring me to you. The young part of me going, Stacey's dead, she's dead. And the grown one remembering how she randomly G-chatted me one time at 2 a.m. I don't know if you can see this, but you're so good and right. She loved me like that, and like it wasn't a problem. It was barely a breath between asking her attendant to fork her some chicken and sending another organizing text on her phone. And I just keep thinking, here we are, a Greek tragedy or Shakespeare. Doesn't he have a lot of those? Where two brother friends, one of them dies and one of them is left mourning to tell the tale. Except we are two Asian brother femmes of different sorts. One hammer-shafted, booby, shaved head, not neurodivergent, limpy, left so fucking bewildered after someone who was arguably Ann Ella Baker of the movement dies unexpectedly the morning of her 33rd birthday, in a way none of us were praying against, waiting worried for. Sometimes being disabled means loving the shit out of all of us that everyone else wants to die. Like love in a way most people never get to be loved. And then watching us die because suicide, or it just happens, or the doctor says low quality of life and can't figure out where the accessible gurney is. We are sibling chapters in the same book. I pick up the side of the banner you dropped, it falls out of my hands, you left me that shook. You leave me notes tucked in all the books of my house. Fall open to a poem I wrote after a year ago when you said, I promise if I'm gonna die, I tell you, turns out to be a promise it's hard to keep. You were so good. So good. So good. Thanks. Thanks. I love you like an autistic person does. I love you like an autistic person does, and I mourn you like an autistic person does too, with too many tears for way too long. Not the 2 weeks permissible, but months after. And sometimes when I wake, and sometimes when I sleep, sometimes 7 hours curled up into the orange half of the couch boat, I cry they hurt. I echo, I miss you. I miss you so much. I mourn you in my big autistic silent singing house I live in by myself with 2 cats. This is where I live. This is the place you never saw. This is the place you couldn't have made it into, but you were still here. You're in these pink walls, in this fireplace. I was going to move, and then it came to me singing. My room and yours was where the second act of our friendship lived. I saw you in person maybe once a year, but we were constantly entwined in texts and Zoom lectures and webinars we co-taught and snarky texts during and in between us explaining what ableism was to blinking heads. You texted me in bed and I texted you in bed. We sent each other gifts. All the time, these pink walls witnessed our friendship. The way my old roommate said, whenever I heard you two laughing on the phone, I thought that's Leah talking to their sister. And you were. The way an autistic orphan has a sister, the way disabled people love each other. Thanks. Okay, so we've all had the worst and best lives and the worst and best 6 years since the pandemic started imaginable. So this book, if I was going to pitch it, I'm like, yeah, everybody died, and then my abusive parents died, and they didn't say they were sorry before they died. But then, life went on, and some cool shit happened, and yeah, I want to write it down because So this is a poem I wrote, and I'm serious. I really wanted to write about what happens when you get to the end of your abusive parents' life, and they don't wake up and slap their forehead and go, "Oh my God, you're right. I'm so sorry." And you have to figure out what you do instead. Yes. No, don't apologize. It's great. So you may appreciate this. This poem is entitled "In Which My Parents, Voldemort and Rasputin, Both Get Terminal Cancer." I love you guys. Also, this poet does not endorse the Harry Potter franchise or the transphobic horrible bitch who's destroying all of our lives. But Voldemort, I was just like, one of my parents is Voldemort. Okay. Because they have to do shit as dramatically and with as much impact as possible, my parents, Voldemort and Rasputin, have decided to croak in 2 distinct yet fucking dramatic, heartbreaking, and terrible ways at the same time. You can run, but you can't hide from us fucking you up, they hiss. From the almost grave of, respectively, terminal prostate, bone cancer, and late-stage unresponsive dementia. Oh, but I ran. I hid. I might not have looked like I was hiding because I was so loud ass, spread thighed, and blatant. But what you never heard in some acclaimed spoken word poetry was these motherfuckers have been finding my address for 22 years and sending variously cards with kittens. All caps, you think I'm bad? Screeds telling me the mother will consider forgiving me if I get on my knees and beg her in a postcard, so I had to read it. Then more kittens. Then a blank card from my father wishing me a merry birthday, followed by a weird children's book script, 48 pages with storyboards and song lyrics about organic farming in Poland. And then my mom on a lot of Vicodin slurring my name on voicemail for Christmas, acting as if this is normal. So normal. Oh, so normal. And the thing I am given this generous offer of forgiveness for. A letter I sent when I was 22 saying incest and I have permanent scars and I love you, but group therapy maybe and 1 month space, K? 2. There are a few poems of being stalked by the golem of your parents. No witness protection program from your crazy batshit family. Just a couple friends who tell me, oh yeah, she did that to me too. Or my parents also put a skip tracer on me, even when I had articles in the New York Times, because they wanted me to know I was still a sick, lost child, not someone bruised, crazy, but alive who just wanted to be left the fuck alone. Or the friend God sends me, as I'm crying for the 5th time that morning in my bright, rainy blue spot at my partner's cheap punk state college, trying to get it the fuck together. And I look up and hark, herald her, sister who grew up in the same kind of thorn bush in the next blue spot. She pats the seat, says, we're going to run the heater. I don't care about the gas. Tells me, oh yeah, my mom told me years later she had private detectives on me all that time. And I told her to stop talking. I didn't want to know. That when you were enjoying your cheap, crappy apartment, skinny cat, and deli coffee, there was a man watching from across the street taking notes. 3, the ways this world will try and fuck you live way beyond the slim hangnail most people can stand to listen to. These owl pellets called your bio family, they'll die soon. This hurts so much, like physically. They'll die, and this will be it, the story. There's no Hollywood ending to this one and no transformative justice one either. Or this one is both. Thank you. Okay, this is shorter. And if people have anxiety like me, we got maybe 4 or 5 poems left and then we can like mingle and converse. And I'm not going to do a Q&A, but we can hang out. This is a poem I love called Prayer for Those Who Run. And I think there's a lot of people in this space and online who have had to run. So this is for us. I wish you swift wind. I wish you a changed phone number that stays changed. I wish you throwing away the cell phone your parents bought to track you with. I wish you the Greyhound, the PATH train, whatever transit you're waiting for with your hoodie and your backpack, coming on time and taking you away express. No stops. I wish you a city with affordable housing, an apartment where you smear blood above the door so their angel of death will pass you by. Side by side with the warm kitchen, the steady love, I was born to run and I made the home I deserved out of garbage and my imagination. So can you. Thank you. Okay, wait, I'm double checking. Yeah, okay. And then we end on some sex and love. So just so you know, it's not all like, wow, depressing, and then more depressing, and then more depressing, and then more depressing. Yeah, I'm going to skip ahead to a poem for people who are doing language work called On My 40th Birthday. On my 40th birthday, my brother takes nail polish and paints red, red roses with thorns, my name, and twining green leaves on a rose gold carbon cane from fashionablecanes.com. Hold on, I have to actually find this in the book because it's too small in the other way. Bear with me. Here we go. We made it. I want you to know we made it. I know you like your wood cane, but the lady at the medical supply said this was stronger and more flexible. It'll fuck your wrists up less. Brother, not from either of our raging bitch, ice bitch, wolf mothers, gives me a steady, beautiful thing to lean on. that will carry me through my 40s, where I write books more than 300 people read. Some of my bills go on auto pay. Same house and lover for 6 years, through airplanes, COVID, and when it all falls down. Years later, my long-term slow burn crush sends me a link to a regular medical cane from CVS, but covered with thousands of safety pins in intricate patterns. They do it the night of Stacy's second-year death anniversary, when I'm laying numb on my hot pink velvet couch, the best of all my couches ever, the biggest thing besides freedom and rent I bought with my disability futures fund, knocked out with a swollen, tear-faced slump like I'm trying to fall through the crouch crack into the center of the earth, where no one can see me, and where maybe she is, watching and barely able to hear her second-year funeral in the backyard of the Disability Justice Culture Club on a bad iPhone Zoom. My friend is still dead, along with so many other friends, and I'm fried from hours of crying and millions of dings on my phone from her being the, excuse me, the fucking Google Doodle. But I say, that's a hot cane. I like that it's medical yet gorge. And they say such a hot cane. And I say, that'd be really hot to beat someone with. And they say, so hot to beat someone with. And I don't give a fuck anymore. So like the exact 47-year-old grieving wolf bitch I am, I text, are you flirting with me? I've been flirting with you for 5 years. Do you want me to beat you with this? Is this an invitation? I want to say, my friend is dead and they want us all to die. I know you're shy and we both were wrecked by horrible people at an early age, but let's just fuck before we're ghosts. Maybe with these beautiful things that hold us up. My own cane's handle worn smooth, nail polish aging like the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel or some shit, from 7 years of my crippled brother's hood art holding me up, all through all of this thing called life. Thank you. Elegy for a soldier. Disabled queers find each other. Go to the military cemetery where you're buried with your grandmother on an unseasonably rainy ass Memorial Day. Go without a plan. Forget that liquor stores are closed on Sundays in the South, are running late, so it's too late to buy flowers. We have a backup plan for if your biofam shows up, but they're all probably still in church. Lex brought me pralines, but I have a nut allergy. But then we were like, oh, you know what? I think we know someone who would just love these. Jess was out of bourbon and we couldn't find soju in all of North Carolina, but there still managed to be whiskey. I have spent the last 3 years teaching that you were buried in a military cemetery. But standing there, I realized you were a soldier, just in a different kind of army. Yashna said, you know, she's probably definitely organizing all those disabled vets, missing a limb, getting something else, resting next to you, casualties of America. Disabled people don't forget each other, even when everyone else obliterates or never cared to know in the first place. Disabled people use our autistic hacker skills and complete batshit wild ass grief derangement to find Cemetery Row 3A3, even when the biofam says, who are you queers again? Jess says, hey, I found her. And there she is, fucking, of course, in the most accessible part of the cemetery, right by disabled parking. And I say, oh. I've been running in place, gnashing my teeth, clawing at my sheets, keening for you for years. Because one day we texted every day. The next, I never saw you again. But here you are. Here we are. Disabled people don't forget each other. We love each other forever, ever. They tried to lose you from us, but you are always and forever found to me. A nation of brutal forgetting. We, surviving America. Thank you. Okay. I'm gonna do 2 more, if that's cool with y'all. Is that cool with y'all? Y'all still here? Okay, great. You can't trust these planes and you can't trust most things. So I might as well actually go a little long if I make it on this side of the country. I am going to skip back to a poem that was earlier in the access text called Doing the Graves. And I'm just going to wait for maybe someone who's doing cart to find that. It's like up like 2 poems back. Thank you. Our Polish great-grandparents, mixed race great-grandkids, We come Memorial Day or whenever I'm in Massachusetts on a gig to, as we say, do the graves. This time I've moved back. First time in 30 years. So I drive in my gay ass Honda Fit with all the bumper stickers, with flowers I grew from seed, a 6-pack of dianthus, my tools, and my bare hands. I pick up a 22-ounce coffee from Dunkin' before I hit the pike, and is there anything more Massachusetts than that? Except being the kid who never leaves or the kid who ran away. 2 summers ago, we went to the Webster Price Chopper, used to be the Cranston Mall, and my ex said, shit, baby, everyone here looks just like you. Big Polish potato face, big hands, but definitely half Puerto Rican or half something. With my landscaper's hands and my arthritic bad back, with my mother's hands, I dig in the dirt. It's only the queer ones who still come. We know how to remember our dead when everyone else has stopped giving a fuck. Coming to St. Joseph's Polish Basilica of Webster, Mass. Is my idea of a fun time or a necessary time. I come to listen to you who rarely listen to me. I come to talk. We are our grandparents' grandchildren despite everything. Our parents' freedom dream even when they're wandering drunk in the street or slurring to our voicemails at 2 a.m. on Valentine's Day. Broken, unfinished, what crumbles in my hands. We are the holding and we are the driving away. Thank you. Okay. And this is going to be the last one, y'all. And then we're going to hang out and you can come buy some books. If you can't afford a book, I get it. Please request your library to order this book so that people can get these books for free and support the libraries that are freedom portals for all of us. Okay. So this is called On My 50th Birthday because I like numbers. I don't know. On my 50th birthday, I have my 50th birthday with my autistic non-polycule where no one is normal, my 2 autistic DJs spinning, and all my autistic friends. This is the poem, by the way. I want to see if I could say autistic in every line. I blow out my autistic double coconut birthday cake with my autistic mask face. I write this autistic poem the next day after I lose my autistic verbal speech after 6 hours of autistic or on autistic birthday and point at things as my autistic friends load up our cars with the flowers and clean up the autistic trans party space. I get autistic adorations like a giant Dunkin' Donuts thermos and 2 sorry for having great tits and correct opinions t-shirts that are just slightly different so I can work them into my autistic uniform lineup of 10 black mini skirts and a bunch of t-shirts that say shit like this. I go home to sleep, a childless cat non-lady, diagonal in my autistic big bed with my cat purring after getting a midnight kiss from a lover who said they could always claim ADHD but not autism till last year because they were like, well, I can sort of survive capitalism. None of us are surviving capitalism that well. I love the delayed reaction. This is great. None of us are surviving capitalism this well. And I almost didn't have this party because the asshole in chief was going to launch the Insurrection Act. But yes, corny as it sounds, we are indeed an insurrection. This shout of unregistered autistic trans joy, screaming the CV Wonder happy birthday song through our masked autistic faces, loving on my masked autistic 50-year-old surviving ass as I blow out all of the autistic candles. Thank you so fucking much. That's it. I love you all. Please stay alive. Please finish your fucking books. Thank you.
Let's give it up again for Leah. Trey, Stephanie, Leah, thank you for this precious evening of poetry. And thank you to our phenomenal Access team, both here in person and virtually. Give it up for our Access. And of course, thanks to all of you for being here with us tonight. We want to continue this conversation. You can check out the DCC Discord and you'll find this program under our events channel. That's dcc.page/Discord. And next week, we're closed for a little break, but we will be back in April for a very busy, very literary month. From writing workshops with Esme Wang to a quiet reading night and book swap and so much more. So can head over to dcc.page/links to sign up for more events, both here in person at the DCC and virtually. And to our virtual friends, we hope to see you again very soon. Have a great night.
So on my gravestone, it's going to say one last thing, as anyone who's ever hung out with me knows. I just want to shout out Medicine for Nightmares bookstore for being incredible and selling the books. Please support them. And some folks have already hung out with it, but I just wanted to draw folks' attention to the Disabled Grief Portal Altar, which is an installation that I've made in conjugation with some really amazing disabled artists, including Jen White Johnson. Give it up if you know. Many other people. It's right over there a little bit before, kind of to a lot of people's left, my right. And please feel free to hang out with the ancestors and leave a little note with the name of somebody that you love. Our grief can be transformed through memory, and we are sacred. That's it. Okay, I'm going to stop. Yeah, okay, let's go. Bye.